What's up, Red Raiders? It's TJ. Now, as the seasons rapidly change here in Lubbock and the weather seems to be a little bit all over the place, today I thought I'd come on here and give you my top 5 tips on how to survive the fall weather in Lubbock. So, let's jump right in. Alright, so this first tip might seem a little obvious, like, duh, TJ, but I promise, just based off of what I'm seeing on campus, it still needs to be said. So the first tip is to layer up, and that's gonna come in handy so often, because if you're like me and you get up earlier in the day and like you have classes early in the morning, it's a lot cooler typically than it is like during the day and in the middle of the day and then at the end and that kind of thing. I definitely have found that layers are the way to go, and typically that's because you can just easily take one off if you get hot or if you add it back on, if you get colder. And also along with that, like, that makes it easier if you don't have like a big jacket. I know a lot of people come from different areas and everybody's like big jacket is not the same big jacket style. I know some people think they have a big jacket until they get here and it's like, oh, this is not protecting me from the cold, and then they're like, wait, I need a new jacket. And so if you don't want to invest, fully in like a big jacket, layers are definitely the way to go. Undershirts, long sleeve flannels, hoodies, sweatshirts, sweaters, all that kind of stuff. Definitely try to layer up because that's going to become your best friend here in Lubbock. Now, my second tip for you is going to be to get an umbrella. And I know that's kind of weird because I know some people are like, oh, I'd rather be seen walking and like drenched in the rain than be walking with an umbrella. And I'm like, okay, cool, good for you. But me, I'm gonna stay dry for the most part. Now, if it's just like sprinkling or it's like a light little drizzle, okay, I'll handle it. Like, I'll walk through the rain. That's pretty normal. But if it's like soaked as it has been out here and it will continue to do, I would definitely suggest getting an umbrella if you haven't already. And honestly, I would kind of suggest getting just like a small one, because that way you can just keep it on the side of your backpack or like in your backpack at all times, because nothing is more painful than like going to class, looking at the weather, seeing it's not supposed to rain, and getting out of class and suddenly, guess what? It's raining. It's raining. So that would definitely be my piece of advice. Just get a small umbrella. It doesn't have to be a super big one, and just carry it in your bag or like on the side. So that way you are prepared for the Lubbock weather that randomly occurs. Okay, number 3 is something that I feel like a lot of people learn the hard way a little bit, and that would be to get some gloves. I know oftentimes people just like put their hands in their pockets or things like that and they're all bundled up, which is fine. But investing in like a good pair of gloves is going to be so helpful, because oftentimes like the wind chill out here, that's what will sneak up on you. Sometimes it's not even like the temperature itself, it's just the wind, and the wind makes it so much colder. And by the time you're like walking from like the parking lot to class or like wherever your next class is, your hands are like frozen. And there's been times where like I forgot my gloves or something like that, and I've tried to put them in my pocket, but it still hasn't been the same. And by the time I get to class, my hands are literally like numb, and I can't even like unlock my phone. I'm sitting there like trying to type, and my fingers are just like, what's going on? So I would definitely suggest investing in like a good pair of gloves. They don't have to be like the best of the best, but something to like keep your hands warm while you're walking in class, especially if you're oftentimes like carrying other stuff, like if you have a water bottle, or you tend to like have your phone in your hand and you don't necessarily put that in your pocket all the time. Definitely just invest in a pair of gloves to make sure that you are keeping your hands warm. All right, so number 4 is honestly something, if I'm being completely honest, it's something that I still haven't done fully, but it's something that every time it happens, I'm like, dang, why haven't I done that? And that is to invest in some good rain boots or like snowshoes. There's nothing worse than like walking on campus when you think it's like done raining and only to find out that there's still like 3 massive puddles that you can't cross and you have to go through. Yeah. And then like getting your shoes all wet, your socks all wet, having to stay during class and like walk around and that all day, not fun. And if I had a good pair of rain boots, which I should by now, I feel like that would have made my life a lot easier to where I wouldn't be having to walk on campus in wet shoes all day. Yeah, and the same thing goes for like snow, because even when it gets colder and the snow comes in and it's icy all the time and things like that, and even if there is snow, you're not going to be wanting to walk around in your best shoes. So I would definitely say like some kind of snowshoes or like rain shoes that have a good grip on the bottom is good. Also too, so you don't slip. That's that's honestly another reason why you definitely want to get that, because you will slip. You will. If you don't have the right shoes, you will slip. I might record. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely stay safe out there. Don't slip. Get some shoes and stay dry. All right, so my fifth piece of advice is going to be to invest in a windshield scraper. This is one of those things where I didn't even honestly think about until I got to Lubbock, and after seeing how icy and snowy it gets, I was like, oh yeah, I need one of those. And that's because like there's gonna be so many days, more so like in November, December for the most part, when it starts to get really colder and like icy and snowy and that kind of weather, where you'll wake up one day and maybe you're like running late to class and you're like, dang, I'm getting in my car, and suddenly, oh, your windshield has ice all over it and you can't see anything. And so that's gonna come in handy so much in those days when you just need to like get that windshield scraper, scrape off that ice. Normally takes about like 30 seconds to a minute, and you can just wipe that off and get back in your car and actually go to class, because there were so many times before that where I didn't have one, where I would just have to wait and like wait for it to defrost, to thaw out, and I would just sit there and like it would put me behind schedule almost like 20 minutes at least. So getting that windshield scraper is definitely one of the things that helps me and saves me a lot last semester, and I'm sure it's gonna come in handy this semester as well. All right, so those are my top 5 tips on how to survive the weather here in Lubbock in the fall semester. And if you have any tips and tricks that you personally do that I didn't mention, definitely put those in the comments below. I am not an expert on the fall weather by any means. These are just some of the things that I personally have done and have picked up on that are helpful for me. So definitely share your thoughts and like your tips and tricks down in the comments below. And if not, I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.